Mm, Okay, we can start the 22nd verse. All right, so chapter 8, verse 22nd. Arjuna, that eternal unmanifest supreme Purusha, in whom all beings reside, and by whom all this is pervaded, is attainable only through exclusive devotion. Now, we have been continuously talking about this, that only with exclusive devotion can you attain this special place. I think somebody is online is not able to log in or something. Can you just see who is that? Okay, one second. Kalpana is there online, I think. Where is that? Okay. Oh, I don't know. This thing is crazy. All right. Is there any other person online? None. All right. So, if you want to enter the second unmanifest, that is, now yesterday, if you remember, we were talking about the first unmanifest and then the second unmanifest. So if you are supposed to join the second unmanifest, when you want to go to the second unmanifest, the only ticket, the only passport that you need to have is called exclusive devotion. Exclusive devotion means what? Exclusive devotion means there is nothing in this material world that you are supposed to be attracted to. All right? Krishna is attainable only with exclusive love and devotion. There is no other method of attracting him. This involves all the detachments that we need to have in place, right? The first detachment that we need to have in place is about the body. Okay, so we have so much of attachment to the body that we are not able to disconnect from the body at all. We are so much bothered about our little stuff. We are bothered about how we are, what is happening to us. I am having these pains, that is happening, so on and so forth. We are continuously bugged about our own body's requirements. And we are so much attending to those requirements on a day-to-day basis. In ancient times, the yogis would sit for hours in meditation. Now you try sitting for an hour in one place without moving and see what happens. You will get those what do you call that? हम लोग I see usually your leg gets still and you are not able to move at all.
numbness.
हाँ numbness और हम मराठी में मूंगी आया बोलते हैं उसको या. So you cannot even do anything like that. So you get stuck up in your place and then you have to go get up and shake your legs or maybe do something, maybe jump up and down. Finally, you get all the motions in place. This, yeah, this I can see that, yeah. This happens on a very regular basis. If you are not able to focus on a particular thing. Now, in our world, we have this disconnects in our world. If you have to focus on one object, let us say a burning candle for 2 hours or 3 hours, you're going to go mad. though this is the practice that has been mentioned by the sages, that to get to the point of concentration, you need to able to focus on a candle or one small light, and that too in a dark place, sitting where there is no wind or no breeze. Yes, a candle lit in a dark space where there is no breeze would be a steady candle, isn't it? Steady flame. So, and to focus on that for hours at stretch, you may get into trouble because if you focus on one object, a lighted object especially, for a very long time, maybe something will go wrong with your eyes. But these guys used to sit there for hours and hours and hours. This is the way in which focus can be brought onto a subject. In our material world, we are so much focused on attaining certain things. It's like we have now you you know how much focused you are. You go to those so many showrooms that are there. You try to talk to so many banks for the loans and stuff like that. And then you want to assess each and every. You want to read journals. You want to read magazines. You try those drives. You go to for the free drive, and then you assess, and then you try to find out from your friends and relatives or whoever what kind of a car is suitable for you. You are actually driven by the car. Instead of you driving the car is driving you mad. And then you keep on doing this on a continuous basis till you finally attain your objective. You're so much focused in your world. Or when you fall in love with a woman or a man, what happens to the person? The person goes completely bonkers. Their attention is so much driven by this one person. This is called focus. And we are supposed to not focus first on the body. And second, we have a mind which is so steady. You can imagine the way it is steady to be unsteady. It's unsteady to such level that you try to give the mind one small piece of information, it's going to tell you so many things. Okay, just let us see. You are meeting a friend of yours, okay, and you meet your friend and say, hi, so and so, and you get on talking. And suddenly you are discussing another third friend. And this person tells him what kind of opinion the third friend has about the first one. The second one is telling the first one what opinion this third guy has about you. And then what happens? अच्छा वो मेरे बारे में ऐसा सोचता है, समझता क्या है अपने को, blah 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 blah. The mind has already gone 19 to the dozen. It just goes on and on and on. And then finally both of them abuse the third guy. The third guy is not in attendance, and yet you are abusing him. And then hypocrisy, when you meet the third guy, hi, how are you? And this is what we are. Our mind is like this. It runs. Okay? It jumps from branch to branch to branch like a monkey. So we don't have single pointed devotion in anything. So first you need to control your body, then you need to control your mind. Body consists of all the senses, if you remember. And that means controlling the senses, the body, the mind. And then the attachments to all these things, the attachment to the worldly objects, plus the people around us. There's so much attached to them. My husband, my wife, my children, my grandchildren. We are so much attached to them. It is literally like, you are getting up and you need to be woken up. If you want to, eat something, so you wait for the other person to eat. Have you noticed it? In our life, we always do these type of things without realizing that we are doing them. Okay? You wait for somebody else to do something. Now let us say, for example, there is one bathroom, okay, and somebody has to go for a bath. That person will wait for the other person to, you go, then I will go. You see, there is this always there. Okay, because our focus is having a bath. Now, where is the question of having this focus about God? You tell me. There is no focus. So you are saying, pehle tum, pehle. What do you mean by this pehle tum, pehle tum? There is no such thing as pehle tum, pehle tum. Pehle God. First is Krishna, and then everybody else. So if you have to meet him, if he is your lover, if he is your father, if he is your, your heart, or your mind, how would you treat him? You would give him the first preference, isn't it? And this verse is talking about how much preference are you giving him. And it has to be single preference. There are no others. So there is no other person in your material world. You are completely focused on him. So this is called a single pointed devotion. How much are you driven by him? Today in the morning I wrote a few words in which I have written what it means to be devoted to Krishna. Do you cry for him? Thinking about him? Think about it. Do you cry just thinking about Krishna? Do you feel like laughing or smiling to yourself when you think about him? You are smiling alone. Please understand, there is nobody near you. You are laughing alone thinking about him. Okay? You are dancing around for God knows what reason. I mean, there is absolutely no reason. Now, by Krishna, again, I am talking about the divine consciousness. You are doing all these things for God knows what reason. This is what it happens to a person. You have horripilations, thinking that as if he's standing next to you. You don't know why this is happening. You really don't know why you are crying. You have absolutely no clue of your own existence. If all these things are happening to you, then that is called spiritual fervor. You are completely attached to this one single pointedly. Whereas, I also wrote the second line where a person thinks, can I escape from this material world? I don't like my job. I don't like these people around me. I hate my parents. I hate my husband, my wife. Okay? My children are irritating me no end. Okay? My relatives, they harass me. They make me work in the kitchen. There are so many reasons for which a person wants to run away. Okay? Many a times it is financial crisis. Maybe many a times it is about running away because you have nowhere to go. And if this is the reason why you are getting into spiritual, then I think that's a very wrong thing to do. It is not an escapist route. There is no escapism whereas spiritual is concerned. So kindly do not think about the spiritual if you are thinking of escaping from the material world like this. No, you need to have genuine love for Krishna, genuine love for this divine consciousness. You need to have this complete devotion, exclusive devotion to him. It is when a person has this, and this happens over millions and billions of lives that you have led. You are slowly being driven to this particular point where you cannot even do anything except think about Krishna or divine consciousness alone. At such point in time, then when your firmness of this exclusive devotion has happened and there is nothing in this world that can deter you, at that point in time, he calls you. People say, I need to have grace of God. Everybody says this. They think that there is no grace of God. God is not showering his grace on me. He doesn't take care of my family. He doesn't take care of me. See, he's given so much to my neighbor or to my brother or to my sister. You don't understand. Here, he has given equally. But what is it that you are actually looking at? First, have you gone with the vessel to receive the grace or no? The vessel is this body, by the way. Have you gone with the vessel properly to receive that grace or no? It's only when you have the vessel with you, which is ready to receive his grace, that you will experience his grace. But if you have gone with just that little, oh, I just want to run away from this society. I hate this society. They are not that, they are not conducive to my living. So can I go and meet somebody and do something about it? when you meet your spiritual master, he is not a doctor that you are going with appointment. Yeah. If you have to meet your doctor, you have to have appointments, isn't it? Or a psychiatrist. Now, in the United States, to get an appointment from the doctor is a very difficult thing. I think Vitoela will tell you. And to get his appointment and then to go and meet him. Okay. In this Silver Linings playbook, the doctor that is there in that movie is Anupam Kher. Okay. And the hero is Bradley Cooper. Now, Bradley Cooper is supposed to meet his doctor. And to meet the doctor is the most impossible thing. You have to fix up an appointment, and you are supposed to wait in his room, and then he gives you that 15 minutes, half an hour, or whatever, listening to you. That's it. But when you are meeting a spiritual master, it has nothing to do with those type of things. You don't go with what is called, I have a specific time to meet. No, you can meet, definitely. I don't know whether in my world, my phone is constantly working day and night, day and night. You will find that messages are coming in at very odd hours also, and I am answering them. If somebody has certain issues, I have had people calling me up at 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock in the night with issues which in their world, which are very, very significant. So, yes, there is this. You can approach. Krishna's Goloka, the second unmanifest, is open at all times. But are you interested in going there? And the only way of going there is called single pointed devotion or exclusive devotion to Krishna alone. Okay? He is that mad doctor you are going to meet. Okay. There you have no bipolar disorder, one single polar disorder. That single polar disorder is connected to one single person only. And his medicines are nothing but, it is going to make you mad like that. I told you. I gave you those 4-5 things that happens to an individual. You cry for no rhyme or reason. You really have no clue why that happens. And this is the line which tells you about it. I shall tell you the time departing when yogis do not return, and also the time past departing when they do return. Now, what is this verse about? Arjuna, I shall now tell you the time departing when yogis do not return, and also the time departing when they do return. I am taking the next verse also because these verses need an explanation which is slightly different. Of the two paths, the one is that in which are stationed the all-effulgent fire god and the deities presiding over daylight, the bright fortnight, and the 6th month of the northward course of the sun respectively. Proceeding along it after death, yogis who have known Brahma, being successfully led by the above gods, finally reach Brahma. The other path is that wherein are stationed the gods presiding over smoke, night, the dark fortnight, and the 6 months of the southward course of the sun. The yogi, devoted to action in an interested motive, taking to this path after death, is led by the above gods, one after another, and attaining the luster of the moon and enjoying the fruit of the meritorious deeds in heaven, returns to this mortal world. Now, these 2-3 lines need an explanation, which I am trying to give you now. Now, when you read these verses, you will find that it talks about the equinoxes, right? In geography, I'm sure you must have done this. There are the equinoxes, the movement of the sun in the northern hemisphere and the movement of the sun in the southern hemisphere. Have you done this? Yes, that is where the change of season happens. You will find that when we follow our calendar also, okay, there are these movements which we take into account. Now the sun has started moving southwardly, right? Now the sun has started moving northwardly. So the sun's movement, actually what happens is the earth is tilting this way and this way. When it tilts this way, the sun is facing the north. When it tilts this way, the sun is facing the south. And it is happening slowly like this and like this and like this and like this. And that is the reason why the movement of the sun from the northern hemisphere to the southern hemisphere happens. And when it moves into the southern hemisphere, the northern hemisphere has cold season, winter. And when it moves into the northern hemisphere, the southern hemisphere has winters. This is how it works. Correct? Now, Krishna is talking about something like that. So I don't want you to get confused at this point in time. But it seems he is talking something like that. He is talking about the movement of the sun. Then he talks about daylight and the night time. See, I am explaining first these terminologies that he has mentioned. Now, daylight and night time is about the sun outside, okay, during the day and during the night. So does it mean that you should time your death when looking at the calendar that I am going to die at this point in time? And people have this belief, understand this, people have this belief that dying at a particular point in time is very, very auspicious. Yogis in the past have timed their death, if you have noticed. They have timed their death accordingly. So again, we will have to do a rethink of what they are talking about. So that means you are going to time your death now. Is that what it is? Are you sure when you are going to die? You are not even sure. You don't have any clue when you are going to die. So then what does this mean? And again, there are gods in attendance. What gods are in attendance when a person is dying? That person is only bothered about many nungu nahi khaya. Kadagola. Nungu? Alright. Now the person is thinking, oh my God, I have removed the jewelry from the fixed from that safe deposit box. I should have put it back. Just when I die, all these vultures are going to come and take it away. Vultures means your relatives. Okay, all these vultures will all pounce upon. I should not have kept it in the cupboard. And here, look at it. This person is dying and is thinking about gold. Is thinking about what properties they are leaving behind. When you are writing the will, if you remember, when you write the will, what happens to you? There is going to be constant fight. तूने उसको ज़्यादा दिया. You have given so much to him and you have not given anything to me. Even a quarter, imagine a quarter tola. It is 2.5 grams, suppose, of gold, which goes extra to another person. The first person is going to fight with you. Why you are giving that person so much? You can be, you will be amazed to know how much people fight over silly and stupid things. So the time of death, is it the most auspicious? You are basically looking at something from the downside of life. You are thinking, oh my God, I am dying. Alright. And the second thing is, you are bothered about all your material stuff. And here Krishna is talking about the yogis who are timing their death. I shall now tell you the time departing when yogis do not return and also the time departing when they do return. This line. Why do yogis want to return and why do the yogis don't want to return? What is this return and not return? See, yogis are those who are union with God, right? They are in constant union with God. So there are certain yogis who die and they come back to life again in another body. And then there are yogis who die and they do not come back. Do not come back means get lost in the Brahma, right? You see, we did in the first unmanifest. They get dissolved in the first unmanifest. They do not return back. So he's talking about death of yogis. He's not talking of any normal person. Normal person maybe will turn up as a goldsmith in next life because those who are so much interested in gold. Okay, बोला उसी में जाके नहा जा. नहीं तो क्या? Or otherwise, in all the big cities or the places where there is a jeweler, have you noticed there are those women who are having one vessel, they have some brush and they have a water and they are sifting the sand. Have you seen that? In most of the places in India where there are goldsmiths, just outside their shop where the goldsmith throws the water, you will find these women and men, they are sitting with one gamela. Gamela means one, I don't know what you call in English, one vessel like this, in which they will carry, they will sift that sand and that water with it, and in that they find small gold pieces. So maybe in the next life, the person who is after gold so much, God will give them that type of a life. Who knows? We don't know. I mean, if your thirst for gold is so much, why not be that? Or maybe he will make you a rat in Fort Knox. You know Fort Knox or you don't know Fort Knox? Okay, in the United States of America, Fort Knox, Knox is a very important place where the United States Federal Reserves put all the gold that they have and store it in their shapes of gold nuggets. What do you call them? The bars. It's stored and it's like a fortress. You cannot enter there. In some of the movies they have shown our heroes and all those people trying to rob Fort Knox. So he will make you a rat over there. Next time if you have so much of thirst for gold, and you will be happy, oh my God, I am sitting in gold. I will get frozen over there because it is always stored below room temperatures. So here the yogis, we are not talking about material worldly people who are attracted to all this material worldly stuff. And then there are people who maybe they are thinking of certain other things, maybe golf. Okay, so the next time he is going to make you an iron. Or maybe he will make you a shoe of your caddy, for all you know, so that you are always there in the golf course. I mean, what is this attraction towards material world? Previous verse we did about single pointed devotion to Krishna. So the material worldly people, these three verses have nothing to do with any material worldly person. This has everything to do with a person who has become a yogi. Alright? A person who has crossed beyond the normal material worldly life. Only for such a person. So then there are these type of yogis who have crossed the path and they don't want to come back again. They have died and they will never come back. And then there are those who have died but they will come back. So who are those people who will not come back? So the next verse describes that. The one in which are stationed the all-effulgent fire god and deities presiding over daylight, the bright fortnight, and the 6th month of the northward course of the sun respectively. Okay, we will go very slowly. the one in which are stationed all effulgent fire god and their deities presiding over daylight. Who are the deities presiding over daylight? The deities presiding over daylight? You know, in our Hindu mythology, we have Surya Dev, isn't it? Surya Dev is presiding over daylight, and Chandra is the one who is presiding over night time. Okay. Do ghosts come in the daytime? No. They come only in the dead of the night, especially after 12 o'clock, maybe, you know. I have not seen, so maybe if you have seen, you can tell me. Then that means there are certain things that happen during daytime, and then there are certain things that happen during night time. What is it that happens during night time, and what is it that happens during daytime? The gods in attendance during the daytime are different than the gods in attendance at night time. Food, you know, we are hungry during day. Are you hungry during night? Yes, unless and until you are that raider of the great refrigerator. I feel hungry, so I go at midnight and I open the fridge and I see what is there. No, I'm not talking about that person. We're talking about a yogi. So this yogi doesn't have a refrigerator. I'm sorry. So no, you will find that night time we are not hungry. We don't drink water. We don't do things, what we do during daytime. Correct? The activities during night time are completely different than during daytime. We go out to work, we do so many things. Our hands and legs are moving, our eyes are moving, our eyes are open. Okay? Are they open at night time? They are closed, isn't it? In sleep, we are closing them. Okay? So all these things are happening. I don't know why it is 7:15. Okay. So you know this during the daytime, your eyes are open, your mouth is also open. You are going blabbering all the time, and no, those who talk in their sleep, I'm not talking about those guys also. I used to once upon a time. I still do maybe. I sung an entire song during sleep. Frustration. Oh. My son not knowing the poetry, I used to say the entire verse of the entire alphabets to him when I was sleeping. I'm not talking about that. Here we are talking about a yogi. During the daytime, certain activities are done. During night time, there are certain things. So there are certain gods in attendance during the daytime, and there are certain gods in attendance during the night time. All right. Now again, when I said the gods in attendance, I think you understood. The eyes are open, you are breathing normally, you are eating. So the gods in those parts of your body are very active and dynamic in nature. There is a movement of those things, correct? During the night time, certain things are happening, which the gods of the night are in action. So this is what he is talking about. The all effulgent fire god. All effulgent fire god. Remember the god of sacrifice. He is in every sacrifice. Fire is used for the purpose of sacrifice. You know this? So when you are eating, the sacrifice of digestion is happening from your mouth, your tongue onwards. You know, inside the first part of digestion has happened. Do you know how? The saliva is digesting the carbohydrates or the sugars right at the beginning of your mouth. Eyes, whenever you are watching certain objects, the god in attendance over there is using the fire in the eyes for vision, purpose of understanding the object outside. The smell, we are getting the smells. At night time, your eyes are not open. The god of fire in the eyes is not moving over there. Even the smell, there may be something happening in the kitchen. You are oblivious to it. You don't even know. Correct? You will find that many a times you are sleeping and your brother has come home and your mother has gone to the kitchen and made some nice stuff for him in the middle of the night and given him. And next morning you come to know about it. Oh, you made for my brother this thing. You don't want to give me. You don't love me. Acha, usko raat ko, that fellow has come after 10:30, 11. So mummy has given at 12 o'clock in the night because the fellow was hungry the whole day. And then you are angry the next morning because you have given him to eat and not me to eat. We are used to these type of things, But here, so that means in the night our smell is also not there. All right. The tongue is not moving at all. It's again frozen. So the gods in this different location, the fires in this have gone to sleep. We have closed the fires, right? So I think I'm slowly moving in that direction. You can understand what is being said over here. So the presiding deities over daylight, the bright fortnight. You know the bright fortnight and the dark fortnight? When the moon is in ascendancy? No, nobody knows that. Okay, the bright fortnight and the dark fortnight of the moon, going up, coming down. Okay, yesterday, if you have seen the moon yesterday, it was having a very beautiful shape. Okay, it was curved and it had a very beautiful shape yesterday. So, the one ascendancy and descendancy, both the things. So, the bright fortnight and the 6 months of the northward course of the sun respectively. What is the 6 months of the northward course of the sun? Do you remember I have said something to you that just above our stomach, the navel, there is a small location, and in our world we call it the solar plexus. Do you know this? Yes. We are not talking of any sun outside there. We are talking about the sun inside your body. The movement of the sun inside our body. We have these great energies inside of us. And it moves up and it moves down. Most of the time you are depressed. At that time you're feeling, what is the word we say? I am feeling low. Do you use this term? I feel low. When you are depressed, some things are not going well, you say I am feeling low. And sometimes you feel, I feel so high, I want to do this, I want to do that. You are feeling so great that you want to do something in the world. And the fellow is jumping, they say. Oh, he's jumping up and down, up and down. Okay. So there are these two states that we experience in our material world, in our physical bodies also. We experience the highs and the lows in our bodies. Some days you get up and you want to win the world, I want to do this and I want to do that. And some days you just want to take your kumble and go to sleep and don't want to do anything. And you say, can I have the next 15 days of holiday? And the boss calls you, boss, काम पे आने का है कि नहीं? हाँ मैं आता हूँ, I'll just come. Can I log in from home? I know the IT industries people will laugh at this because they have done this. Can I log in from home? Okay. And if it is a video call, my video is not working, only my audio is working. Can I just be on audio? Brito and Senthil are laughing. They know that very well. This is what happens. So in the video call, you don't want to show them that you are sitting in a little chatti and, and a t-shirt which is a torn t-shirt, and you don't want those guys to see. So you are on in the screen is just having one picture of yours. Okay. And now somebody's this thing is on microphone. Okay, so now think about it. This is what you do. Why? Because sometimes you are on the high and sometimes you are on the low. And sometimes when you are on the low, you will find, okay, I'm talking about all the material people, okay? This is also there predominant in the spiritual world also. See, today my boss is going to kill me. Why? Because I have not submitted this, I have not done this, I have not done that. And then you actually experience everybody is literally trying to throttle you. And then you think that boss and his boss's boss and all your colleagues and everybody, they say, Brito ne nahi kiya, Brito ne nahi kiya. And poor Brito is thinking, oh, today is not a good day. I should have taken it off today. And this is how it works. So there are certain things which happen in our world. Even in the world of yogi, he experiences the highs and the lows in his life. Sometimes he is on the ascendant. We are not talking about the northward movement of the sun there. We are talking about the northward movement of the sun inside of you. The movement where you are lost in the Lord. And otherwise you are lost in all the wrongful things in the world. So the ascendant of the sun inside. You know, you are so much feeling love and devotion for the Lord. That is the time of ascendancy. When you have no performances of duties anywhere in the world. Do you know, even if one duty, if you leave behind to perform and you die, just because of that stupid duty that you have not done, you have to come back for that. So you will find that completion of certain jobs by these yogis they do that. They get actually ready for dying. Okay? It's like people who walk the red carpet. I think they must be taking at least 5 to 6 hours to just put their makeup on or their Versace gowns and all that. Right? So in the same way, this guy, he is going for the red carpet. Oscar is there on 26th of this month, I think, 26th or 28th. And he's also going to get his Oscar nomination, and he's got it, and now he's going to win the Oscar award. So he's getting ready for it. So do you think he's going to miss out on his makeup? No. Here the yogi is got ready, fulfilling all the tasks, completing everything that is there. And that is the 6 months of his, that period of the ascendancy of the sun inside. He has actually got ready for giving up his life. And Krishna is talking about such a person. Proceeding along it, that is, and the 6 months of the northward course of the sun, proceeding along it after death. How does a person proceed along this path? So that means there is there is a railway line from here to the sun and all that. No, there is proceeding along the path means in this spiritual world, I describe to you the movement in the northern sphere of the body. When a person climbs up, he is going to different levels. In the heart chakra, he is going to the domain of Vishnu's Vaikunta, correct? And then he goes to the domain of Shiva's Kailasha. Correct? This is what we are talking about. We are talking about how his body energies, you see, in one of the lines previously he says, focusing all his breath, life breath in the head, isn't it? In his head. That's what he said, if you remember one of the lines. Here he is talking about the ascendancy in the northern hemisphere. Northern hemisphere, movement inside our body. That means spiritual. Padma, you're saying something. Yeah.
I have a doubt. Why is he calling it 6 months only? Why is he giving it a time?
No,
Because
no, no.
devotion
6.
can be always.
No. See. Okay. Let us try to understand this. What happens to a yogi? In the yogic world, we have now. This Kumbh Mela is happening. Okay. What is the Kumbh Mela? Basically, all the kachara that they have gathered during the course of the last 6 months or the last so many years, they have to come and wash in that. That is called the first, that snana that is there. Again, there are, we actually do these things, but we don't know what we are doing. दिवाली में पहला स्नान करते हैं, फर्स्ट बाथ यू टेक, you know this? In Diwali we do the first bath. Okay, somebody's audio is on. We are doing this first bath. So when the first bath happens, what exactly are we trying to do? When does a person start the first bath? Or when somebody is dead, what do? After we go to the graveyard and we come back and we wash our bodies. Have you seen that? Everything,
Punyaha, it's called.
Everything is pointing towards something. Just like we have the first bath, in our spiritual world also we have an ascendancy and a descendancy of these energies in our system. Remember, we have to keep all the systems intact and running. I can't have my hells not doing their job. Can I? Can I starve the hells? No. So I can do, chicken tandoori over there. No, I have to give them the equal importance. So in our body, now, just for, I don't want to go into the depth of it, but the formation of this cycle up and down is also happening in the reverse direction at the bottom. Okay, just like the Kundalini's movement is there in the northern, it is there even in the southern. Southern means below the legs. Okay? Yes, below the Muladhara. The downward movement is there. But only thing is, the yogi can focus on every part of his being, by the way, because he has to keep all the heavens and the hells. Okay, hells I can't say, the nether worlds working in perfect tandem. All right, and that is the reason why, since both these universes have to keep moving in the proper direction, he has to give importance to, he stays in the northern and then he stays in the southern. It is giving, वो हम लोग क्या बोलते हैं उसको, फूड खाने को देते हैं ना हम लोग, जैसे उनको अपना देना जरूरी है. All right. In some of the movies in the past you have seen, okay, even in the Southeast Asia or South Asia or East Asia, you have Hungry Ghost Festival. You can Google it and see. There is a very big festival called Hungry Ghost. You have to give the ghost something to eat. Even in India, some people go to the graveyard during this festival. Yes. So we have to cater to that also. We can't keep them hungry. They also need their sacrifices. Do you understand? So the yogi in the proper world, I mean in our normal world, has to feed both these levels. Okay. He has to energize these worlds as well. You can't keep the nether worlds hungry. So 6 months he is upstairs, 6 months he is downstairs. But if you remember in one of the lines, whomsoever that you think of during the time of your passing away, you are going to go to him. He is mentioned, isn't it?
Yeah.
So now if that guy is doing great sacrifices in the Sutala and all that, he is supposed to go and stay with Mr. Bali. That's very difficult. Tomorrow he will become grilled chicken in his... No. So at that point in time, he doesn't want to go there. So that time he refuses to leave his life. He is only going to leave his life, I mean his life breath, when he is in the northern, in the ascendant, when he is towards the godly regions. And the godly regions also, there is a small catch over there. You see, the catch says at a particular time. You can't leave it just, chalo abhi main chhod deta hu. Daytime. Daytime means ascendancy hota hai. Sun is in the ascendant, moon is not there. Okay? That means moon is connected to depression, luna, lunatic. Correct? See, the words are very clear over here. So the person is in the sun. He is moving during daylight, the bright fortnight. The entire thing in our life is in our body is also divided like this. Many a times you will find that in the winter months you get sardi. Summer में आइसक्रीम खाने से सर्दी होगी. कभी कभी होता है कि नहीं होता है ना? Temperatures, body temperature, fever comes. Cold season में भी आता है, hot में भी आता है. And we say he's burning, the child is burning. बोलते हैं कि नहीं बोलते हैं? See, many a times we say words but we don't know what we are saying. You will find that we are actually talking the right language without knowing. So there are certain things which happen during this time of the year. So Padma, did you get it? The feeding has to be done. I can't keep hungry ghost hungry. They will get very angry. Okay. Then Ram Gopal Verma will come up with new movies. Too many hungry ghosts who have known Brahma, being successfully led by the above gods, finally reach Brahma. The knowers of the Brahma. There are knowers of the Brahma who are in the descendant also. I'm sorry, they are there, not that they are not there. But the knower of the Brahma means the yogi who knows the pathways is now taking the sun upwards. When the sun is upwards, when it is the bright fortnight, when it is daytime, at that time he will leave his life breath. Okay? So he is programmed to die, crack the skull and all that. You remember that at a particular point in time. And so this is the one who is going to get liberated. He is never going to come back. Now we are going to talk about the person who is not going to get liberated but needs to come back to do the cycle continuous. उसके बाद आगे उसने continue करना चाहिए. The other part is that wherein are stationed the gods presiding over smoke, night and the dark fortnight. Correct? Smoke. Right? There is no fire there, there is smoke there. And night time is there. The gods of the night are working. Gods of the night. Of course, there are lots of gods who work during the night. One of them is called Kamdev. Works very dangerously. What? Brito, you're smiling. Of course. Then, the dark fortnight. The dark fortnight, I told you, in the dark fortnight, moon is going to disappear. At that point in time, you know, they used to say in the past, this person needs the moon and then he throws it out. Again, at Rahu and Ketu, actually it means the solar eclipse and the lunar eclipse. That happens, no? So this is at Rahu and the Ketu in action. And the 6 months of the southward course of the sun. the sun inside, the solar plexus, the sun inside of you is moving downwards. Okay, the movement is downwards, reverse direction downwards. Taking to this path after death is led by the above gods. Which above gods? The one who are presiding over smoke, night and the dark fortnight. So gods who are connected to this domain are taking charge of you. One after another, and attaining the luster of the moon and enjoying the fruit of his meritorious deeds in heaven, returns to this mortal world. So such a yogi, remember, he is a yogi, so he comes to the domain again of the three worlds that I told you about, in the middle domain of the world again. So he comes back to life as a human being or whatever. For these two parts of the world, the bright and the dark are considered to be eternal. Proceeding by one of them, one reaches the supreme state from which there is no return, and proceeding from the other, one returns to the mortal world, becomes subject to birth and death once again. So the yogi who has now programmed his body to move into the northern hemisphere and leaving his life breath at that particular point in time, okay, when the movement of the sun is in the north, the bright fortnight, daytime, I told you, the gods in the eyes, nose and all are working. Night time, they are gone to sleep. That means what? A yogi who is sitting in meditation with the Lord, focused clearly his energies in the northern part of his body and rising his kundalini higher and higher, when he gives up his life, with all the gods of the bright fortnight, the daytime are in attendance, at that time he gets liberated. Whereas somebody who is focusing on the dark fortnight, the downward descendancy of the moon, of the sun in the southern hemisphere, that is, he is going into the southern hemisphere. At that point in time, if a person is focused on dying, that person will be born again and again on this realm of the earth. Why? They do not get liberation. So there are sages, there are yogis who do not get liberation during that period in time. So they have to come for the next round or the next round or the next round. Right? Even if he is a knower of Brahma. These
A yogi is one who is in union with God.
Yes.
But why is the yogi involved in the Dakshinayana Kal?
Yeah, the yogi is, there are yogis who are supporting, I'm sure you know Shukracharya?
Yeah, Shukracharya, Prahalad. Yeah.
Yes, these are the yogis who are connected to those domains. Now, when you wonder, why are there yogis who are training the demons? It is important. See, even in our body, now let us, for a very silly and a stupid understanding, let us see, for example, this. You know, we have a very important ingredient in our kitchen. All right? That important ingredient in our kitchen is used to clean the vessels. That small piece of scrub that we have, correct? When they tried to do the research, they found that the dirtiest thing in the entire house is this object. It contains 2 lakh times the amount of germs. 2 lakh times, I'm not joking about this. For Rajeshri's understanding, 200,000. amount of times the germs that are there in washed clothes, that is the amount of germs that they are there. And it is meant for the purpose of cleaning. Why do we clean? So that we can remove the germs, isn't it? Got the answer? Many a times, again, I'll give you some more examples which we do not understand why there is a negative energy in a place where there is supposed to be cleanliness. We clean the vessels, right? And then we keep them for drying. We do not wipe them and clean. You have to wipe them with a clean cloth, dry them thoroughly, and then keep them for storage. Otherwise, because of the dampness or whatever, they develop a lot of these bacteria. And we are going to use the same vessel for cooking our food next time. Right? That means the bacteria are there even in that scrub. And that scrub we are using for cleaning our vessels. How strange does it sound? So here the yogi, again, in our body we have different places where different kinds of creatures are working on our body. Alright, in the stomach we have the flora and the fauna which is digesting. In our large intestine we have a different kind of flora and a fauna. Okay, that is also doing some job. If I remove that flora and the fauna, I'm going to get into trouble. Have you ever noticed when you are taking certain antibiotics, they give you another small goli which contains lactobacillus. Why? So that the flora and the fauna in the body are not killed. Alright, they are maintained. Alright, we are using certain bacteria which create dahi for us, isn't it? They are bacteria only. So that means the negative world is also very helpful to us. It is working in tandem with us. Cheese is made from those type of things only. You know how many bacteria are used in the cheese? It's a mold. It's a mold. क्या बोलते हैं उसको? पनीर जो होता है वो तो क्रैक किया है ना दही को, हमने दूध को. In the same way, we are sometimes using stuff which we have stored for a very long time. Wine. How do you get wine? Fermentation. It's a process of fermentation. That means there are certain things in our world which are detrimental to us and which are helpful to us also. Both the cases. So what happens is, like now this is an example which I have given to you, where the negative energies like this type of molds and stuff like that are very useful to us. In the same way, the yogi has to do sacrifices even in the other domain. In this body, we have to sacrifice even in the other domains. Now think about it. I said to you that the hells are in the leg, in the feet. If you don't keep your feet in motion, you know what's going to happen to you? You do exercises for your leg also, don't you? You keep on walking, you do so many sit-ups and all those type of things. Whatever that are the legs and the part of the body not important? We have to give them due importance. Okay. So even that other portion of the body, we have to do sacrifices over there. There's a God in the knee. If I don't sacrifice and give that God his food, we are going to end up with arthritis, isn't it? So I have to practice that. I have to keep that God fed all the time. That means the ligaments over there, or what is that cartilage and everything that is there, the layer of that smooth liquid over there has to be always in movement. So the movement of the hinges of your leg have to be always, we have to perform the exercises for that. If you go to the gym, that person is going to tell you to raise your feet on the toe. How many times is this? He says 25 times you do. Take a break. 25 times again. And then you take a break. Another 25. And finally you tell him, yaar, bas ho gaya na. 75 to ho gaya. Mera heels ka 12 baj raha hai. Why do we do it? We have to keep that part of the body also in perfect symmetry with our other parts of the body. So we do the leg exercises, we do the stomach exercises. You know the crunches that are there? I'm sure you have done the crunches in the gym. Why? Because your hips and your stomach which is spreading, you have to pull that stomach in. In most of the men and nowadays women also, they have beer bellies, big round, stomach. For them, these type of things are very important. They have to burn the fat over there. So the downward portion of the body also has to be taken into account. So the yogi who is there, now let us assume a yogi is sitting in one place in the Himalayas. He is sitting in that same place for 1 year. If you know, they say, focus on your head, focus on your leg, focus on this. That means what are they doing actually? You are focusing on a certain part of the body. Even though you are sitting, you are concentrating your energies over there, isn't it? So in yoga, they say, now you focus on this particular part. Yoga is a Hatha Yoga I'm talking about. So you focus on that. Even in the Kundalini, they say, now let us focus on the Muladhara chakra. Okay? That means what? Though you are sitting like this, in dhyana, we are now focusing on a particular chakra. We are dynamically activating that center. So the yogi who is dynamically activating centers in different parts of the body, they have to be kept in tandem. Think about it. If I destroy the entire demonic world, do you think the gods will survive? No way. That is the reason why when the churning of the ocean was happening, correct? At that time, the gods were given the Amrita, okay? And the demons, their guru was given the Sanjeevani, the mantra which keeps these alive. So that means there is an equal balance between the two forces. They both have to work in tandem with each other. So in our body, we have the negative forces and the positive forces, and both have to work with each other in tandem. When we have negative thoughts, we need to put in positive thoughts to get rid of the negative thoughts. Isn't it? Right or wrong? So you will find that in our world, motivation, working towards a higher goal, we have these, so many teachers who will give you, and once in a year, your company also, if you are working for certain company, they will send you for these motivational courses. I know you sleep through them most of the time, but it's important for us to go through those courses at least. If not in active, but at least in sleep. Why? It motivates us to go back onto our feet once again. So this is what happens. So the yogi has to subsist on both the worlds. He has to keep both these worlds in fluidic motion. But he should never give up his life when he is catering towards these downward things, because he is going to come back again. Right,
Another
Padma?
question. Yeah.
Hi.
Another question. When the yogi is in Dakshinayan, does it
Ah.
mean he is not full of devotion for the Lord?
No, the devotion is full of devotion to the Lord, but let us say he is servicing the other aspects of the world. Okay. You know, many a times a person loses his control in the bathroom or in the toilet, and and to take such a person to the hospital is a big pain in the whatever. Whereas somebody who is sitting outside, it's easy for us to take that person. You know, then there are those patients who have these continence. You know, continence? What is that? Incontinence or continence? What do you call it? They cannot control their bowels. They cannot control any of their body movements. You know how difficult it is to manage such type of patients? Then there are those people to whom we have to give a bedpan and all that. You know how difficult it is for the nurses and the people to manage. Whereas in the other side, you have another person who can be taken straight away to the, to the bathroom, can come out and all that. So, there are these two kinds. Like we have these kinds, even in our physical body, we have certain parts which are in the motion, certain which are not. The gods in those particular domains have not at all functioning. So now if you understand, the nighttime gods and the daytime gods are different. You understand or you don't? So exactly how it works. The saliva is not working during the night. It has nothing to digest. We are using the saliva just for wetting the mouth. That's it. Otherwise, there is no digestion happening during that time. So the particular juice is not going to come out too much. So when you spit in the morning, doesn't that spit sound horrible to you? So you have to go and brush your teeth many a times, isn't it? So now think about it. This is, our body is functioning in that way. Got it? I just given some examples so that you understand how this nighttime, daytime, northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere works. There is nothing called a northern hemisphere. There is nothing called a southern hemisphere. If I die tomorrow on the moon, what is going to happen? And if I go and die in the sun, there is going to be something different. So there is no northern hemisphere, no southern hemisphere for me. I was traveling on my spacecraft towards the sun and I died. Does it mean that I died during when the sun was in full ascendancy? The sun is constantly there. I'm moving towards the sun. There is no nighttime and daytime, isn't it? So these words have a different meaning. They are meaning about you, about what happens inside of you. Correct? Knowing that's the secret of these two parts. This is the secret of the two parts. The movement upwards and the movement downwards in the body. O son of Kunti, no yogi gets deluded. Therefore, Arjuna at all times be steadfast in yoga in the form of equanimity, that is, strive constantly towards my realization. When we are doing the ablutions, okay, what are we doing? We want to go and take Dettol and wash our hands and all those things, isn't it? See, our focus is in one particular direction, and at the other time when we are eating food, we don't mix up these two. If I ever talk about such type of dirty things, I always get
Reprimanded.
yeah. Raj will always pounce on me. I am not supposed to talk of those dirty. But of course, you see, if you don't do those things, you cannot maintain your body. Correct? So for the maintenance of the body, we have to give a balance to both these things. And that is the reason why the yogi has to pay attention to both these domains so that they are in perfect tandem with the universe. Correct? And that is the reason why Krishna says in this second last verse, knowing thus the secret of these two paths, O son of Kunti, no yogi gets deluded. So the yogi who is always keeping his mind in the heart, in the cavity of the heart, focusing on the Lord, moving his energies inside towards the northern hemisphere, is focused one pointedly, a single pointedly towards the Lord, and is interested in giving up his life. At such a point in time, he can release his life energy, that is, prana, and move towards the
Realization.
domain of no return. Whereas the yogi who is focused on other things in his material world is concentrating on doing certain actions, and he is servicing the gods in the lower regions of his body. At such point in time, if the yogi leaves his body, he has to come back again. So this you got to understand. The yogi, realizing this profound truth, doubtless transcends all the rewards enumerated for the study of the Vedas, as well as the performance of sacrifices, austerities, and charities, and attains the supreme and the primal state. So such a yogi, whatever there are the pros and the cons that are written in the Vedas. See, there are, you can achieve this, you can achieve that. Okay, it's written, when you are doing the Lakshmi Suktam, you can have a lot of money. So many Suktams written in the Vedas. So whatever that he wishes to achieve when he is studying the Vedas, he gets everything that is required when he is in the ascendancy, when he leaves his life at that particular point in time. All right, this is the truth the yogi has to realize, has to understand, and then do whatever that is to be done. Doubtless transcends all rewards. All rewards, that means all the gods that are mentioned. What are the gods that are mentioned? Agni, Vayu, and all they are mentioned. The Indra is mentioned. So many gods are mentioned in that. They get the rewards from all these gods. They are all working in tandem with this yogi. All right, they are helping him reaching that state of ascendancy, as well as the performance of sacrifices. Performance of sacrifice that happens in on every part of our body, that happens, austerities and charities, and attains the supreme and the primal state. Whatever austerities that we are supposed to perform, that, and the charities, we have to be charitable to the various places. Let's see, like we do give charity to different temples and to different people and so on and so forth. Here we are doing charities to these domains inside of us, and attains the supreme and the primal state. Thus in the Upanishads sung by the Lord, the science of Brahma, the scriptures of yoga, the dialogue between Sri Krishna and Arjuna in the 8th chapter entitled The Yoga of the Indestructible Brahma. Okay, so we have just concluded this particular chapter. So do you have any questions? No questions, huh? So you are letting me go early today. Tomorrow we will be meeting in the afternoon as usual, 2:30. See, I have an appointment which for which I have to go slightly far. So if I am late by a few minutes here and there, kindly hold on, I shall be back. So at 2:30 tomorrow in the afternoon we will have India time, 2:30. So all right. So only for Sundays, because there are people who have to come here and all that. Yeah, Brito, you're saying something.
So the chapter's name was Indestructible Brahma. So is it the first unmanifest?
Yes, it is basically.
But you said it's still destructible, right? Only the second is indestructible.
No, in that, now let us say you have started at the beginning of time.
Okay.
Now, if you have started at the beginning of time, that is maybe in the first yuga. Now what happens is, if you attain the Brahma in the first yuga itself, you don't need to come back so many million times, no?
Hmm.
You agree with me or no?
Hmm.
But whereas to keep on coming time and again, time and again, time and again, just imagine in your chart it is written, today you are an ant, you will die in 5 days. After that you will become a grasshopper, you will live for 1 month. After that you will become this. I mean, do you really want to do all those things? No, I don't want to do all those things. I would rather die once and for all, finish the whole story there and, okay, think about it. Would you like to face your, kitkita boss all the time? वो कट 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 करते रहता है. Every day you don't want to face him. Once in a while, okay, चलता है. I imagine this material worldly life is like that, as if you are going to come every now and then and facing the same damn things. Like, you have certain things, certain problems in your world which are basically disorders and stuff like that. I imagine having those continuously. How difficult it is. Correct? So that is the reason why it is, I say that if you can get liberation right in the first time, why not? So there are yogis who try to attain this type of liberation right in the beginning itself. And yes, you are right. At the end of the yugas, whole thing is going back into the unmanifest. Whereas we are not talking of going anywhere. We are talking of going straight, double promotion to the second unmanifest. From this to that. Bas, we are not talking about,
Indestructible.
yeah, what you said,
Which is indestructible.
which is indestructible at any given point in time. So once you have graduated to that, there is no such thing as, coming, going, ये वो नहीं. अपना खाली कभी कभी अपने को फ्रेंडली क्रिकेट मैच के लिए बुलाता है, नाइट राइडर्स टू डेक्कन व्हाटएवर, या तो फ्रेंडली मैच खेलने को आने का रहता है. And yes, we are very expensive players, by the way. Nita Ambani's team and so Shilpa Shetty's team, ऐसा हम लोग भी ऐसे कोई तो Krishna's team ऐसा करके आते हैं हम लोग, very expensive team. Okay, so you don't have any questions. Senthil, you have anything today? No, I can't hear you. Did you rectify your? No, I think his thing is still in bad shape. Yeah, he's in Mount Brook. So Brito, no questions. Okay. Aparna, no questions at all. Kalpana is frozen and Raj is also frozen. If you both are there, do you have any questions? Padma, anything?
No.
No. So I'll take your leave. You have a very good day and take care of yourself. Bye. Good night to both of you.